What do you guys want to talk about first? Never asked you guys that. What do you guys want to talk about? The commissioners.
Oh, okay, well, the commissioners one's the one that really kind of sparked my interest because I don't know exactly what's going on with it.
Yeah, what happened?
There's a lot going on. So you remember the censure a month or so ago of Commissioner Krista Keating-Joseph. Commissioners accused Joseph of campaigning on the, what do you call it? The desk? You don't call it the desk. What do you call it?
The dais.
The dais, maybe? Yeah. Campaigning from her seat on the county commission, right?
I remember this. Yeah.
So it was a 4-1 vote for that, and the county said they were going to hire attorneys to look into this and see how legal this was, see if there were any laws violated. Now, Commissioner Krista Keating-Joseph has filed a federal lawsuit against her fellow commissioners and State Attorney R.J. Larizza. This action stems from a contentious incident, they say, during a public meeting last November. Wow, this was a couple months ago already? Jesus, November. Where Commissioner Joseph made comments about unchecked development in the county while displaying a small American flag and a flyer about the county preliminary election. Now, didn't tell people to vote for her, so I don't know if that's... She basically showed a list of people and were like, these are people you can vote for that are not...
that sounds like a violation of the Hatch Act in my opinion.
I don't know. I'm not an attorney, so that's why they hired the attorney, right?
The Hatch Act is like if you're in a position of power, you can't use that power to influence other people to vote from that position. Like as Parks and Recreation Director, I couldn't suggest people voting because it helped me get money for my parks.
Okay.
You know, and so there are certain...
But you could still sign a petition for like Free Britney or something.
You can sign a petition. You can actually even endorse people and stuff like that, but you can't, in an open forum at work, say, hey, like I couldn't go to Creeks Athletic Association, largest association, almost 50,000 people. I couldn't go there and give a speech for Sheriff Harwick.
Got it. Makes sense now. Okay, because it gives you leverage.
Well, it benefits and it gives an unfair advantage to the other candidates too.
Hatch Act. Okay, I learn something new every day.
So following the incident, the commission sought external legal opinions. Troy, can you shed any light on why they would have to go to an outside attorney? There's a county attorney, correct?
Yeah, and that's just because of the close proximity of working together. The county attorney works directly for the 5 commissioners. So he can't take a side one way or another. And if there was a decision that had to be made, there could be conflict with that could come back and create some backlash. So in this case, it's probably best for the own safety of the county attorney to not, to step away from it. So.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That external opinion concluded that Joseph's remarks could be considered criminal election interference. That led to her censure by the commission on December 5th. Okay, so there was an argument. The incident happened, I guess, in November. They hired the attorney, they came back, and then they did the censure in December, I guess is how it reads here.
I guess that's how that folds out.
Yeah. Joseph's lawsuit responds to those actions, asserting that her First Amendment rights being infringed upon in this situation. She argues that the threat of criminal prosecution over her speech is an undue restriction on her political expression. In a detailed written response, St. Johns County Board of County Commissioners Chair Sarah Arnold defended the commission's stance. Arnold emphasized the importance of protecting First Amendment rights, but also they say she highlighted the necessity. Boy, I'm great at reading this morning. It's one of those mornings of maintaining civility and adhering to legal and ethical standards expected by public officials. She pointed to the external legal analysis suggesting that Joseph's actions likely violated state law by using her official position to influence elections. I will say, I don't know if it's the same thing, but a lot of people have pointed out that other commissioners have gone on tours to try and convince people to vote for that 1 cent sales tax increase again. And I mean, just like multi-area tours across the county to do those things, and recommended people voting for that 1 cent sales tax increase. So I don't know if that's a similar situation or if it's any different when you're telling people to vote for individuals rather than a bill or an ordinance or whatever you want to call that in that situation. But yeah, a lot of drama up there, man. Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, the commission has clashed with Commissioner Joseph since the beginning. They're just not in line with what they want to do politically, I don't think. And we've seen kind of the fracture in the local Republican Party here. And, you know, it seems like Commissioner Joseph is in one camp and the rest of the commissioners are in the other.
She's on one side, the other four in another. And you know, it's... yeah, no, I mean, and she kind of came. Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah, so several different times, and you know, sometimes those more, and I don't want to use the radical because it's a negative word. The more against the grain type candidates can take power, and you know, it's you got to have some balance involved in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, her campaign was very contentious about like the attack she had on the previous commissioner and some of the people that are sitting in the state level, which could have cost us money. We fortunately got all the money we need, but I can tell you, yeah, it's definitely happened. People like having that pushback.
Yeah,
and I think it's good to question.
Yeah,
absolutely. The civility of it still has to be in place. You know, the pushback's fine. Everybody should hear both sides of the story, and I think she's definitely doing that as her part. But you know, I think it's the civility side of it, and
I think civility is a problem for both of these sides, honestly. In the county
there
commission.
Is a line that you need to kind of stay. I mean, you know, I always say government works at glacier speed, and that's because we don't want them to get too far away from the center.
Yeah.
You know, if they get too far away from the center one way or the other, it kind of throws off the balance of what we have going on in our world. So it's a balance, you know, definitely I don't want her to lose her voice and her questioning and stuff like that. But there's certain guidelines when you sign up for the job. You need to follow those guidelines. You're looked at as the person, you know, who's expected to follow the guidelines, or no one does. So.
Yeah, true. And it's very contentious on both sides. I mean, it's obvious that the other four commissioners do not like Krista Keating-Joseph, and she doesn't seem to like them either. So
they're just taking it up.
It just gets very personal. Yeah. Like, honestly, to be honest, watching some of these county commission meetings where these two groups attack each other, it's pathetic. I mean, it's honestly pathetic to hear, you know, to hear these sides going at each other. It's pathetic on
both sides. Yeah.
Both sides, but honestly, it's a little more pathetic on the four commissioners' side, in my opinion, when you hear just their tones of voice talking to this woman who is also a county commissioner. It's disappointing. It's just disappointing. And lots of people are going to disagree with me, but that's the way I see it. It's like, it's very catty, it's very petty, the way that she's been treated since the beginning.
I can tell you don't have the whole story.
Well, nobody has the full story, right?
That's why I give everybody kind of the benefit of where they're at.
Well, the reality is the communication is just not a common ground there at all.
And
I'm just saying, from a purely outsider perspective, if I even know less than I do today, I would view it and say, what's the problem here? Why are these adults acting like this towards each other? I mean, we should be able to just at least talk civilly.
You want the real story, you can talk to staff, because they get to see both sides constantly every single day. But I can tell you there's more to it. It's more personal in a lot of different ways.
I believe it.
There was an accusation of a dog attack.
Right, yeah, that's right.
I heard about the dog attack.
The dog weighed 1 pound.
Yeah.
Did it attack somebody, though?
No.
Those things are vicious.
No.
It did poop on the commission floor, right?
No. That didn't happen either.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, you heard
that's what I heard.
You heard it from the person that's now in
that's a heck of an accusation
court.
to make up.
Exactly.
Interesting.
But I don't know.
Yeah,
I wasn't there for any of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. We all have to rely on hearsay from both parties in this situation. I can just say, if you're watching it, if you're a citizen watching it for the first time, you're just thinking, these are our leaders. Why can't they be civil to each other? And that's everybody.
And that's everybody. The whole thing. Like the argument. Last night, Mike and I really got into it, but we respect both sides' opinion. Like I still respect his, he still respects mine, and that's the way we've always been. Unfortunately, that's not the way our society is. So you have a different opinion, then all of a sudden it becomes personal. Like you're not allowed to think that way because I think this way. You're not allowed to think that way. Yeah. And that's the huge conflict that's happened in our entire world. It's so polarized about that. And, everyone has the right. That's why I said I don't want her to lose her voice, because I think the opposite side is important. So you look at it. You look at it from both sides. Yeah. But I mean, there's a level of civility that has to be in place, and both sides need to take a step back and say, okay,
I agree.
Us figure this out.
Let's regroup.
We're running a $1 billion company.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what these five are doing, and that's our money. So take a step back, deep breaths. Do what you were there to voted to do. Yeah, definitely. I think this is going to be a very interesting election this year. We've got elections in St. Johns County this year. I don't know how that county commission shakes out, man. We got a lot of folks getting in this race. A lot of folks that I know are already in that are kind of on that Joseph side of things, and that's kind of who comprises the most vocal side of the Republican Party here in St. Johns County at this very moment. Yeah. So it is definitely the squeaky wheel side. Yeah. I don't know if they have the numbers, but it is the squeaky wheel side.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because that's kind of the Trump side,
yeah.
I think it is. That's what it seems like to me. And talking to some of these folks, it seems like that's and I don't know. DeSantis obviously is a guy who had a hand in getting a lot of those county commissioners out there on the board. A handful of them. So I don't know. It seems like the DeSantis-Trump thing is clashing at our own local level.
She was against one of the good old boys, which was more of a Trump-DeSantis guy. And so no, I wouldn't. It's like I said, I don't want to stifle her voice because I think it's important to have that. But she was not, one of the placements type situation. She beat a candidate that had raised 5 times more money. So she gets great respect for that and her campaign and what she did. But she's not. The other group are more, I would consider, involved in the older base Republican instead of the new
face Republican,
the new a scream from the rooftop Republicans.
All right, it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. The campaign, I have a feeling, is going to be nasty.
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
It is going to be rough.
Nasty. It's going to be interesting to see what they throw at some of these people. And that one got pretty nasty with the flyers and the things that were accusations that were out there.
Flyers.
Yeah.
No, there was
some of these flyers that politicians do, boy, are just so goofy. I remember one from a guy who lost a few years ago, but I could never get enough of it. And I don't know if he still works in Flagler or not. And Troy, you know who I'm talking about.
He doesn't.
There was a musket. Yeah. There was a musket in one of these flyers, like an old school, like 1800s musket.
Don't make me pee. Come on.
Using one of these was pretty hilarious.
He was dressed. He was a reenactor as Patrick Henry also.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
He was a reenactor as Patrick Henry also.
So he was in full Patrick Henry garb.
Oh, yeah. And he's a close friend, and I busted on him so hard.
Yeah, it seems like a nice guy. I met him during that campaign when I was working for the radio station.
Yeah, and he lost by 7 votes to Waldron.
Right, that was the Waldron.
Yeah.
Yes,
man. 7 votes to Waldron.
I'm telling you, if he wasn't dressed in that with the musket, he might have pulled that out.
Right.
Yeah. I definitely lost him 7 votes.
I for your colonial
votes.
Exactly 7
votes.
votes.
Not going Amish on you. I'm going to vote modern. Yes.
Jeez, man. So
and Waldron was an underdog guy. I mean, that's the reason we have election days. I mean, he was kind of an underdog guy running up against a lot of money, which Okay, I can use Jerry's name. Jerry had a lot of money and raised a lot of money and worked hard on that. And, so sometimes the underdog wins.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
You guys think the national election is going to be interesting? Boy, this local stuff is going to get heated.
Yeah,
that's what I live for. I love it,
and that's the stuff that matters most. I mean, this is our money. This is our money they're playing with.
Yes, our money and our lives and our area. This is the election that you're right, Troy, impacts us the very, very most.
Yeah, city commissioners and county commissioners are the people that control more than what the argument we were having about the upcoming presidential election. It's very, very important, but the ones that are closest to us are more important. So,
yes, I totally agree. And that's part of the reason we're here, is to keep people up on that local stuff, man. Because to me, it is definitely more important to focus on the local elections, man.